The quiet town of Cedar Grove was left in shock and disbelief after the tragic and violent deaths of Mary and John Schott, a couple who, for years, seemed to represent the ideal marriage. On the surface, they appeared to be a devoted couple, deeply in love and committed to building a life together. But underneath that veneer of perfection, there was a web of betrayal, lies, and festering emotions that eventually led to a brutal and bloody end. The murder of John Schott at the hands of his wife, Mary, remains one of the most shocking and haunting crimes in the town's history, a case that serves as a chilling reminder of how unresolved personal conflict can lead to catastrophic violence. The Schotts, a picture-perfect couple? Mary and John Schott had been married for nearly 15 years, and to anyone who knew them, they were the definition of a successful, loving couple. John, a respected financial advisor, had built a successful career in town, while Mary, a former elementary school teacher, had dedicated her life to their home and raising their two children. They lived in a beautiful home, were active members of the community, and regularly attended social events, where they were known for their friendliness and charm. But the reality of their marriage was far more complex than anyone could have imagined. Beneath the facade of happiness lay years of unresolved tensions, infidelity, and emotional manipulation. John had been having an affair with a colleague, a fact that Mary had long suspected but refused to confront. Over the years, their relationship had deteriorated to the point where they were living almost separate lives, barely communicating except when it came to their children or public appearances. The emotional distance between them grew, and the once loving marriage was now fraught with tension and resentment. The affair that sparked a tragedy. John's affair with his colleague, Laura Green, had been ongoing for nearly 2 years before Mary discovered the truth. For months, she had found several signs of infidelity: late nights at the office, secretive phone calls, and unexplained absences. When she finally confronted John with her suspicions, he initially denied everything, accusing her of being paranoid. But Mary's gut feeling was too strong to ignore. She hired a private investigator to follow John, and her worst fears were confirmed. John and Laura had been meeting in secret, carrying on a torrid affair behind her back. When Mary received the evidence of her husband's betrayal, photos of John and Laura together, she was devastated. The betrayal cut her deeply, and she was overwhelmed with feelings of anger, humiliation, and sadness. Instead of confronting John immediately, she let the pain fester, stewing in her emotions and plotting her next move. The woman who had once been a loving wife was now consumed by thoughts of revenge. The night of the murder, the tension in the Schott household reached its breaking point one fateful night. After weeks of quietly simmering in her anger, Mary finally confronted John with the photos of him and Laura. What followed was a violent argument that would change their lives forever. According to police reports, the confrontation began in the couple's bedroom, where Mary accused John of destroying their family and betraying her trust. John, shocked that Mary had uncovered his affair, admitted to the infidelity but showed little remorse. He was dismissive and cold, telling Mary that their marriage had been dead for years and that he had no regrets about seeking comfort elsewhere. This admission only fueled Mary's rage. In a fit of anger, she grabbed a gun from John's nightstand, a gun he had bought for home protection, and shot him twice in the chest. The gunshots echoed through the house, waking the couple's teenage children, who rushed downstairs only to find their father lying in a pool of blood and their mother standing over him, the gun still in her hand. In a state of shock, Mary dropped the weapon and collapsed on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. Their son immediately called 911, and within minutes, the police arrived at the scene. The investigation and arrest. When police arrived, they found Mary sitting next to John's lifeless body, covered in blood and barely coherent. She was arrested on the spot and charged with first-degree murder. In her initial police interview, Mary confessed to the crime, saying that she had been overcome with rage after discovering John's affair and acted in the heat of the moment. Despite her tearful confession, the police were left to piece together the details of the crime and determine whether this was a premeditated murder or a crime of passion. The investigation revealed that John's affair had indeed been the catalyst for the murder, but it also uncovered a deeper layer of dysfunction within the Schott's marriage. Friends and neighbors, who had initially described the couple as happy and loving, were shocked to learn about the affair and the tension that had been brewing beneath the surface for years. As more details emerged, it became clear that their relationship had been on the brink of collapse for some time. The trial, betrayal, murder, and emotional breakdown. Mary Schott's trial became a media sensation, drawing widespread attention due to the sensational nature of the crime and the emotional testimony that unfolded in court. The prosecution painted Mary as a cold-blooded killer who had planned her husband's murder after discovering his affair. They argued that the photos provided by the private investigator were the final straw, pushing Mary over the edge and leading her to meticulously plan the murder in order to exact her revenge. The defense, on the other hand, portrayed Mary as a heartbroken woman who had been driven to the breaking point by her husband's betrayal. They argued that she had acted in a moment of temporary insanity, overwhelmed by the emotional devastation caused by John's affair. Witnesses, including close friends and neighbors, testified that Mary had been a loving and devoted wife who had tried to keep her family together despite John's infidelity. Throughout the trial, Mary's children were notably absent from the courtroom, too traumatized by the events to attend. Their testimony, given through recorded statements, described the shock and horror of finding their father dead and their mother in a state of emotional collapse. Their heartbreaking accounts only added to the tragedy of the case, as the jury grappled with the devastating impact of the crime on the entire family. The verdict and sentencing. Mary Schott was found guilty of second-degree murder after an emotional trial. Although the jury acknowledged her intense emotional state, they couldn't ignore that she had taken her husband's life. Sentenced to 25 years to life, with the possibility of parole after 15 years, Mary broke down in tears, expressing deep remorse and apologizing to her children, who were left parentless. The aftermath. A family torn apart. The Schott children were placed in the care of relatives, struggling to cope with the loss of both parents. The once happy family was shattered by betrayal and unresolved marital issues. The case serves as a reminder of how unchecked emotions and infidelity can escalate into violence, stressing the importance of communication and seeking help before tragedy strikes. That's it for today's video. What do you think of our video? Please let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.